Hey!
Hi, today we are in Turkistan.
As you can tell, which is behind us, the most important landmark of the city, which is the Mausoleum of
Khoja Ahmed Yasawi. He lived in the 12th century and he's a really important and famous poet and philosopher, and his mausoleum was built in the 14th century in his honor. It's actually the most visited landmark here in the city and it's UNESCO World Heritage site.
Yeah, Kazakh people say this is like really the most important part of their history here that you can still see, since they were always nomads during their life, and they oftentimes miss these sites or these important big cities that other countries have, like Uzbekistan. So Turkistan has a lot of their culture, as you can see, architecturally but also spiritually. So a lot of people also come here for praying and like to get blessings.
Indeed, and as you can tell, the intricate details of the mosaics and the architecture overall is a little bit similar as what you can find in Uzbekistan and in Iran. All the turquoise and the blue tiles, it's really pretty, like in the sun reflecting. And do pay special attention to the really intense turquoise dome, which is really beautiful and has all these inscriptions on the side. So the whole area is actually free to visit. You will enter through a gate which leads to a little pathway with a lot of small kiosk-like shops. They sell all kinds of souvenirs but also religious items, and you have to pass through that to get to the mausoleum, and the whole area is free to visit. Only if you want to go in for foreigners it's 500 tenge, which is like $1, a euro.
The inside of the mausoleum is not really that spectacular. We went inside for 500 tenge, like you said, but there was not much to see. I think it's very sterile in there, and of course you expect something grandeur if you see like the outside of it, but it's like very minimalistic and just
more plain white. I also was expecting the colorful tiles or something specific like a chandelier, I don't know. But it's really plain on the inside.
Indeed, a lot of tombs, that kind of thing. But it's, I guess, worth a visit to just go inside for that amount of money to see it for yourself.
And also given the fact that the whole surroundings are free.
Indeed.
Now, how to get here? So most people stay in Shymkent like we do, and then you just take for the day a shared minivan that you can get in the city, and usually they wait until they fill up. And for a price you have to count between 1,500 to 2,000 tenge, so 3 to 4 euros. And then the drive until here takes around 2 hours, I must say, because they don't drive that very fast actually.
Yeah, the distance is not that high, it's only a little bit over 100 kilometers, but they drive very slowly and it takes like 2 hours indeed.
after seeing the Mausoleum, also Masjid, the Underground Mosque, all over there, like the historical side, we walked further and then you end up in the Karavansaray, which is basically a newly built kind of open air shopping mall or entertainment center.
Indeed, you find here all kind of entertainment, let's call them like shops, like for children, for example. In the main mall, you have a lot of games, it's like arcades and all that kind of stuff. Everything is very fancy, like built, like very posh, very impressive, like from a architectural like standpoint, let's say.
Yeah, they did
very
use
big.
The historical architectural as inspiration, so it fits the scenery, but it's brand new.
Indeed. And so scattered around you have all kinds of shops, like clothing shops, for shoes we saw something. It was like appliances, electronics, you have supermarkets, cafes, all that kind of stuff.
But half of it is still empty, it isn't fully filled.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like not a ghost city I wouldn't call it, because there are people here, they buy stuff, they walk around, but it's like maybe a tenth of what would be possible.
Yeah, it still feels quite deserted. I think it's with eye on the future. And what we read as well, they want to kind of compete with emirate countries.
And that's also the vibe that it gives us, like this fakey vibe, like everything, like money just pumped into the place, everything built to like really high standards, really posh, really beautiful, but just fake, because it doesn't actually, I didn't think this would exist here, like right next to those very spiritual places, to those really ruins and like those older buildings, mausoleums and all that. So I was a little bit surprised by the size of this, let's call it like shopping mall.
Yeah, it's really weird. We don't really know what to do with ourselves here. We just had a coffee. We just checked out how it looks like. You can do a boat ride. There is like these gondolas, like a little bit, I guess what you find in Dubai. And there is a little artificial lake and river that you can go down on.
It's an artificial canal where you're gonna then drive through with your boat. Everything is just like gives this fake vibe, I have to say, and like just everything is so artificial, like really artificial the way it's made. But yeah, I guess in countries like these, also in the other ones like we talked about, it's seen as maybe something special or something
unique. And to spend your weekends. There's a lot for kids, so I can see with a family with kids here.
You have a lot of golf carts here as well, which drive through the whole place, because it is kind of big here. So.
So indeed, I think it's something with eye on the future. It's not fully there yet. It still feels a bit like ghost town-ish, but I think it will be something in the future.
Indeed.
So next to the gondolas, you can also find again like photo opportunities. They love that here. Just watch out for a throne with a lot of gold, and you can just dress up as a Kazakh warrior with an eagle on your arm. For the rest, there is this special looking golden egg. It's huge on a little nest in the middle of the beginning.
Right,
that's also what they call it on the internet.
Indeed.
I think it's a golden egg.
Yeah.
So we're quickly in a store here and we want to get some snacks, but we're also thinking of taking some typical chocolate with us home for the family, also to try out if it makes it alive back home, because we still have a while to go. Might melt, but we'll see. It's not that much. They're under €1, so it can melt and break. Now for the big question, is it worth traveling to Shymkent to see Shymkent itself, Turkistan, and other surroundings.
So in our opinion, it would only be worth if you only spend time in Kazakhstan. So let's say you only do Kazakhstan, you do a road trip, for example, or you want to visit Almaty, you don't have much time to spend in Uzbekistan, then definitely come here and see those mausoleums, the mosque, these kind of things, because they are impressive, they're beautiful, they're very pretty. But if you're gonna go into Uzbekistan, you're gonna see mostly things like that as well. It's not gonna come to a surprise that you're gonna see the same kind of stuff, even more so and even be more impressive.
Yeah, because I think compared, so we're still on our way to Uzbekistan, but I think compared, this might be a bit underwhelming. We were actually a little bit underwhelmed by the sheer size of the whole surroundings. We did have to travel here 2 hours to get here, and then also we had to travel to Shymkent. And for that amount of time, money, I don't think it was fully worth it. But like Moritz said, if you're doing a road trip around Kazakhstan, I would include it.
But it is true that you have to get to Shymkent first. You rather or most likely have to spend the night there and then use it as a stepping stone to get to Turkistan. So it does take a little bit of an effort, especially for people who are time-bound. Most people don't have these huge itineraries where they can spend multiple weeks in a place. So you really have to choose wisely where you want to go. And for that, I think we both agree we would rather just spend more time in Almaty and especially in the landscapes of Kazakhstan, which are super beautiful.
Yeah, that's what Kazakhstan is all about, in our opinion.
Yeah.
It's the magnificent and diversity of landscapes,
Definitely.
which, like, well, yeah,
And less
blew us away.
less buildings, or like less the buildings and like ancient places or something like that, because it doesn't exist as much here, just out of their history as a nomadic folk or like nomadic
Indeed.
people. They don't have the same as Uzbekistan, who are more settlers.
So yeah, that was a little bit our honest review and opinion on Shymkent and Turkistan. We're gonna walk around a bit more, and then we'll try to find a marshrutka that takes us back
Indeed.
to Shymkent. And it's packing time for us, because tomorrow we will be heading to Tashkent, Uzbekistan.
Yeah, I have to say that they came a little bit quicker than we thought now.
Yeah.
That transition from Kazakhstan to Uzbekistan, quicker than we expected.
So we'll see you guys later.